Hello, everyone. This is Gail Kraft, and I am business and executive coach from Women of Wealth, Health, and Power. So today you have me. You notice that we have a few people missing. Well, this is kind of a normal occurrence in everyday life and in business. Things don't always go as well as planned. So I'm going to virtually or simulate, shall we say, our other panelists who expected to be here, but life happens and got in the way. So this is a perfect example of what you as a business owner should do, and that is always have a contingency plan. So let's talk a little bit about what Elena would have spoken about should she be here. Elena is our health coach, a health and nutrition coach with a Scandinavian flair. Now, what she had intended to share with us today is, what does that mean? Scandinavian flair. Did you know that the Scandinavian countries are probably the healthiest in the world because of their diet? There is a difference. They eat vegetables that are from a cold climate. So when we talk about that, we're talking about cabbage, we're talking about Brussels sprouts, we're talking about kale. Those vegetables are incredibly high in antitoxins. So by the nature of those foods and the fact that they eat a lot of fatty fish, their diet is extremely healthy. And so she works with her clients to help them slowly introduce this type of food, this type of nutrition into their life, and to see what works and what doesn't work for them, so that they start to experience a Scandinavian diet, which is also fresh food, freshly cooked, and I know because I am one of her clients, or was one of her clients. So if Elena were here, she would start talking about start your year off thinking about maybe every other week or every third week, making one small change in your diet that's more on the healthy side than what you do today. You'll find that it won't cost more money. You'll find that you'll feel more full, more satisfied for a longer length of time. And you'll find yourself living a cleaner and healthier life. Now, Tashina Beckman is our Psych K coach. And Tashina expected today to talk about, I have my notes here, personal power and how we go outside our sphere and allow others to influence and control our personal power. And what does that mean? I wish Tashina was here to really dig into that, and she will be at our next meeting. But what that means for me when I think about this is we all let other things not within ourselves control our decisions. So we might decide not to do something because of the weather. We might decide not to do something because of somebody's comments or somebody's influence. For example, let's say you were planning to go to a party. It's that time of year, holiday season, blah, blah, blah. So planning to go to a party, and you're looking forward to this. And then last minute you decide not to go. Why is that? What is it about going to that party that is stopping you from doing something that you actually wanted to do? Stop and think about those instances in your life where you fully intended to do something, fully wanted to do something, and at the last moment, you allowed something to influence that decision. That's one example of outside sources influencing yourself. So what Tashina does is she helps us actually get in touch with our internal influences so that we control our own destiny more and more each day. Sat through a Psych K session with Tashina, and it is remarkable, absolutely remarkable. I can't wait to talk to her as a follow-up as to what my experience has been since going through that. So definitely look up Psych K. Come and join us in 2 weeks so Tashina can really dig into what you can do with the new year coming to start making small changes in your life so you start regaining the power that you have to influence your own destiny and understand and recognize when something is influencing your decisions that is outside and not internal, not something you want to do. Now, Lori, on the other hand, I can only touch on Lori's because she's our options lady. She knows the market. She knows what's going on. She's definitely the one to turn to for this stuff, and all kinds of exciting things are happening to Lori. So what she wanted to share with us today is over the past year, we take a look at what's been going on in the market. It has been actually a rather good year. Gone up and down a little bit, up and down a little bit, up and down a little bit, up for the most part, and nice and gradual, so it's not this incredible roller coaster ride. So looking back, it's been a pretty good year from a market perspective. What does that mean moving forward? What should you be doing with your finances? How should you be planning to invest for those of you who are investing? What are some of the things you need to think of in the year that's coming up? So will the market continue to get better? Will things improve? The economy looks like it's turning around. There are more jobs than there were. Those are increasing. Certainly not at the levels that they were at in 2006, but they're getting slowly better. What does this mean also for the market and for the economy? So come back in 2 weeks and listen to what Laurie has to say for where we should be going and thinking for 2014. And then we come to me, so I can spend a lot of time because I know exactly what I was going to talk about, and I'm going to touch on that. So this time of year is the time of year for my clients to recap how things went in the past year. What worked? What didn't work? Why didn't it work? What do you continue doing, and what do you stop doing? What do you outsource versus taking on? Where is your value? Getting into the 80-20 rule. Where are you getting the big bang for your bucks? And those things that are not bringing you maximum results, that are not bringing you maximum value and not bringing you maximum dollars, then do we continue to do it? So some of the things, I put some notes here, is know your market, know your competitors, know what's going on around you, what has happened in the past, where do you think they're going, and what evidence do you have on this, and how does that affect your decision making? Whether you're an entrepreneur or a small business or a big business, you need to know your competitors, and you need to be warmed up to where it is that they're going. So it may be something you might be interested in, could affect your decision. Outside advisors, always have outside advisors. Over this past year, I think I've had 6 or 7 coaches, consultants, advisors for a variety of reasons. I've brought people in as I need them, let them go as I'm done. Some people I've brought in and I'm going to kind of hang on to them for a long term. Some people I'm just starting to bring in because of my plans for the coming year. And the purpose of that is I don't know everything, number one. I also have things that need to be done that's not my core value, my core strength. My strength is coaching. My strength is strategy. My strength is helping you figure out what's the best thing for you to do and nail it on the head in order to move forward. That means I'm not an accountant. That means I'm not a brander. That means I'm not a web designer, right? All of these things that I need to do in my business is not my core strength. So I identify people that can do that and do that well for me, and I outsource. Now, of course, it costs money to outsource, but I'll tell you something. It costs less money to pay someone else to do it than my time, because I know what the value of my time is, and if I put $1 to that, if I'm doing a web design, if I'm playing with Infusionsoft, and yes, there is a pun there, yes, there is a sale there, awesome application. If I am doing Facebook, if I'm doing anything other than coaching, I'm not making money. So who do I need to bring on board on my team, in my board of directors, whatever you want to call this panel of folks that you work with? Who are they? How do I pay them? When do I bring them on? And when do I let them go? But you definitely need to look back, see who you used, see who you can use moving forward. Okay? Survey your customers. Voice of the customer. This is a Six Sigma, definitely tool, along with many that I've used. Voice of the customer is incredibly important to understand from their perspective how well you did. And it's very important to be careful on how you word your surveys. Nobody is perfect and nothing is perfect. And so if you say, perfect 360-degree survey question, which I think should be canned, is, so tell me how I could have improved my service to you. Now, when I get that question, sometimes I struggle. I sit and I think, well, I was really satisfied. Maybe there's nothing. So now I need to look, because I've been asked that question, where can they do better? And now it becomes a negative, and maybe even something made up so that I could answer that question, okay? So be careful on how you word your surveys and word your questions when you go out to your customers, because you want to get value. You want to get something like, if there was one thing that I could do that would service you better, what would that be? Okay? Or if there was one thing that you saw someone else do in their business that might fit in mine, what would that be? So you're looking for an improvement, but not from a negative perspective. So kind of play on the words there a little bit. Words are incredibly important. Still looking back, identify what worked and what didn't work. Let's talk about that. So what worked? Is this going to continue for 2014? If it is, get it in your 2014 plan, right? What didn't work? Is this something that you might want to stop doing in 2014? Okay, put that on what I would call a parking lot. Potential stop. What do you want to do in 2014? You're only one business, or if you're a small business, you're only one company. You're a big company, you only have so many resources, and they're doing the operation day-to-day stuff. So no matter what level you're at, you have resource constraints for the new stuff you want to do. So I'm a perfect example. I have a couple of things that I've got in mind and lined up that I want to do for 2014 that I did not do in 2013. And believe me, in 2013, I was busy. So what is it that I am planning to do that maybe I can stop doing so that I can spend time doing the new stuff, or outsource to someone else to do it, okay? Or set up systems that can automate it, automate that process. People, process, systems. Even entrepreneurs need people, process, and systems to get it done, to get it done, to get it done. It's that routine stuff that can suck your energy and suck your time that you need to figure out who can do this for you, okay? So now we've got looking back. The next thing is looking forward. So when we think about looking forward, okay, we did a little bit of that, okay? You want to be sure that whatever you're planning to do continues to fit in with your vision and your strategy. One of my favorite sentences, one of my favorite lines to use is, does this make sense? Simple question. Stop for a moment. This is the vision of my organization, my little company. This is where I was planning to go. This is my customer. I know who they are. This is how I market. This is my target. This is what I want to do. Does it make sense against all of the stuff that I've built today? If the answer is no, then the question is, why are you doing it? And it could be that you're changing your voice, you're changing the direction of your business, that you're making a shift, and that this new project, if you will, for 2014 is in order to address that shift. And it could be, depending on the business that you're in, an outside imposed, if you're doing something that requires complying with regulatory requirements, or if you're doing something with the DoD, with the government. There are outside influences now that are going to dictate what your projects might be for 2014. So based on selecting those projects, how does that fit in with your strategy and your resources and your constraints? And it sounds very boring, but this is what you need to do. Entrepreneur, small business, you've got to do this work at this point in time to take that first step next year in the right direction. Okay? So bear with me a little bit more, okay? With all of this planning, the next thing is to determine what your benchmarks are. And it does not have to be big and elaborate. Be very, very small moments when you stop and you take a look. What is my success criteria? So, for example, if in quarter 1 I want to achieve this, quarter 2 I want to achieve that, quarter 3 I want to achieve the other thing. Well, do we wait until the end of quarter 1 to say, oops, missed the mark? Or do we say, at the end of January, I'm going to take a look at this, this, and this, see what's going on, and adjust? Or do we say, halfway through January, twice a month, I'm going to take a look at this, this, and this, figure out how it's working, and adjust? And the key is to be able to adjust. Here I am doing this webinar, or this little hangout, with my 3 lovely ladies missing. I'm still holding it. I still have their input because there's always a contingency plan. So let's go back to the lovely ladies. I'll tell you where they are, and then I want to talk to you about contingency planning. Okay, so Elena had a dentist appointment that came up. Whoops! Sometimes even the healthiest of us have to see the dentist. So Elena's not here. Tashina is on a trip and she's mid-air. She had so intended to be here, and then she realized the timing just wasn't going to work. So Elena, Tashina, you're over the U.S. somewhere. Hope you're having a ball and you're having a good flight. And then we have Lori, who is in the middle of getting some end of the year work done, and she's a little bit in crisis mode. And so she had to make a decision, as far as 80-20, where's the value? And she went with the 20 this time. And I so can appreciate that. No problem. It happens all the time. So what does that mean? Contingency planning. So you've taken a look back. You've seen what worked, what hasn't worked. You've heard the voice of the customer. You figured out where you want to go. And you have a plan. To get from A to B, you have some measures along the way to see whether or not you're going to be successful. Here's what I would suggest. I don't know if you've ever heard this saying, but there's more than one way to skin a cat. Okay? There's more than one way to build a plan. There's more than one way to go from A to B. There's many pathways. Now, there only may be one that fits wonderfully for you, but I challenge you to take that plan for 2014. It goes from A to B. And think if you were someone else, how would you get into that car and drive from A to B? Write out that plan. And if you're really, really smart, write out the third plan to go from A to B. Really write it out. Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3. And what you will find when the best laid plans fall awry, you have plan B. And when the secondary plans go astray, you have plan C. And you might even be floating from A to B to A to C to B to A, but you've got your contingency plans. You've got other ways to address the same end goal. There's more than one way to play the game. There's more than one way to drive the car. There's more than one way to skin the cat. So think of the various ways to get there. Now, some of the things some of you might be doing are new, brand new. And I heard a statement one time that said, we all know how to do what we want to do. We all have good intentions to get there. New Year's resolutions, awesome, perfect example. Why is it that we don't do it? Why is it that we get going with just the right energy and we fail? For some of us, it's because we are not able to hold ourselves accountable. It's so easy to get wrapped up into the day-to-day stuff. And that's where you have coaches. So if you want to do the nutrition adventure and try the Scandinavian food and test out kale and test out cabbage and fatty fish and getting those in your diet, then definitely you want a Scandinavian coach who's going to be there for you to talk to, who's going to be there for you when you're having difficulties, who's going to encourage you along the way, and who's also someone that you need to be accountable to, who you have to talk to. And so it helps you a little bit moving forward. If you're looking for a shift in your perception, if you're looking for a shift in how to manage those outside influences, then definitely you want someone like Tashina. You want someone who's going to be there with you and encourage you, to be there with you when it's scary, who's warm, to show you that it's okay. Because what she does, you absolutely can do it on your own with a lot of work. She does it simply, she does it lovingly, and she makes it so that any transition to your thought patterns is second nature. And then, of course, you've got the money market. What do you do if you want to invest? What are your options, right? So Lori works with her clients to help them figure out how to analyze, how to interpret, how to make those decisions. I know I'm a perfect example of someone who's gone through the courses to learn how to read the market. I have a minor in economics. I understand the market. But on my own, I do not invest. For whatever reasons, when I do, I kind of walk away from it. I don't stick with it because it's a change in my routine. But with Lori, as a coach, it's someone who we can talk things out with, someone who can help you project. She's certainly not going to make the decisions for you. Neither is Tashina, neither is Elena, neither is Gail. But we can work with you to help you figure out what's the best pathway for you. Again, more than one way to get from A to B, and there's a way that's perfect for you that's not perfect for me. And so our role is to be sure that we're there to support you with these new goals for 2014, with these new thoughts for 2014, with these projects coming up, these achievements that you so know you can do. It's such an exciting year coming up. I can feel it. And I know that if you really, really put your heart and soul into it and you got the right outside resources to help you, you too can really achieve amazing things in 2014. I wish the other ladies were not in the air, in the dentist chair, or running around a little bit rampant so that they could share their thoughts with you on this particular day, because it is the end of the year. And this is going to be it won't be our final hangout. I'm going to try and do it on the 26th after Christmas. But it is close enough to the end of the year, and it is the time for you to finalize those plans, finalize that budget, finalize where you're going. Take a deep breath, get lots of oxygen in your lungs, get them down deep, blow it all out, and just move forward. Take that next step. 2014 is going to be a fantastic year for me. It's going to be a fantastic year for this panel. It's going to be a fantastic year for you. Now, I'm going to cut this a little bit short, not quite 3:30. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for listening. Look forward to seeing you on the 26th. Have a safe holiday. Take care.